Hey folks, welcome back to our tutorials. In this video I'd like to demonstrate how to copy and paste a component from one page into another page, and we'll use a couple of examples here. We have components like the info box carousel and the call to action right down below it, and over here on the side we have the featured video and the side menu component. Maybe a little lower down we have a quote rotator, or this quotes rotator small is what we're calling it. We want to copy these into another page. Before we do that, the first thing we need to check is we need to see if there's a special style sheet for that component, because some of the components are a little bit larger, more complex, so they have their own style sheet. And other components, such as the side menu and the featured video, they don't require as much styling, or they're used much more often throughout the website, so the styles are actually already incorporated into the styles.css, the main style sheet for your template. But when it comes to things like for example, the info box carousel, that requires its own special set of styles because it's a more complicated component. We didn't want to take all that CSS and lump it in with the root CSS, because it's not going to be used in all pages, so there's no use loading it into a page if you're not going to be using it. So that's the reasoning behind having its own separate style sheet. Right, now with that said, let's say we're going to take the info box carousel and the call to action, and maybe just for fun the featured video. If we wanted to take those three components and load them into another page, first thing we'd have to do is check to see if it has its own special style sheet. If it does, we have to copy the link from the page that we're copying from into the page that we're going to be adding the components to. So I'm going to jump right into Expression Web 4 here, and the first thing I'm going to do is open my index page like so, and then I'm going to open the page where I'm copying the components, and we'll probably go with the About page here. Now if I scroll down here a little bit, somewhere around line 50 or so, we're going to start to see the component style sheets being loaded in. And this is where it's going to be fairly obvious if your component has a special style sheet or not, because everything listed in here basically links from the library, components, or library sliders folder. And it will actually tell you what component is being loaded in. In this case, the call to action and the info box. We also have an accordion panels, and we have a testimonial slider and a contact panel. We talked about copying the info box and the call to action and the featured video from our index page into our About page. But all I see here is a style sheet for the info box and for the call to action. There isn't a special style sheet for the featured video. I don't see one. And that's back to the reasoning being the featured video, it really doesn't require much styling at all. So we didn't need to create its own special style sheet. So all we need to do is copy these two links here. And we need to go to our About page, sort of scroll down a little bit in the page till we find the component styles editable region, and we already see there's a contact panel style sheet. So I'm just going to put my cursor at the end here of that link, hit enter, and then I'm going to paste. So now I have the info box carousel and the call to action. The only thing to keep in mind is if you're copying from a page in the root folder, i.e. a page in here, into a page in maybe the pages folder, or to a subfolder of your site, you need to update the link with the appropriate // sort of thing. And you'd know to do that if, for example, you were copying into the About one page here. If we scrolled on down, we see our library components contact panel here, and if I pasted my new links in here, I would see that the library components is a little different from the library components link that's already there, because there's this // thing. So just make sure that you put your cursor there at the beginning of the word library and do a // and then the same for the one below it. And now you're going to be correctly linking those style sheets into your page.